sacrifice. Eating you would do me no good. I must have every last drop to rule the underworld as king.
King? You? I don't know. I mean, you're a big guy and all, but you seem more like a knuckle-scrapping fart in the wind than anything else.
Devil May Cry 5 is looking fantastically stylish, but what else would you expect from the DMC series? We got to play a small section of the game recently, and then sat down with its development team, director Hideaki Itsuno and producer Matt Walker, to chat about how they're bringing Nero, Dante, and the rest of the series up to date in new ways. Here are 12 things you have got to know about this new DMC. And here's a quick shout out to the Huawei Honor Play for sponsoring this channel. Time to go to work, guys.
That's it. No more wheels from here.
First off, Devil May Cry looks jaw-droppingly good, and that's because it's being developed with the RE engine, the same engine used in Resident Evil 7 and the upcoming Resident Evil 2 remake. We think the RE engine works great for the kind of action games we want to make, and it's thanks to our tech guys building that engine that we were able to make something that looks like this, that plays 60 frames per second in 4K, Director Itsuno told us. The characters and settings do look photorealistic, but it's also impressive what level of detail it brings to the smaller touches like item pop-up screens too. This level of detail, coupled with the original sound effects from previous games, is a DMC fan's absolute dream. So we don't know much about the story of DMC 5 yet, aside from the fact that Nero has had his demon arm ripped off and has it replaced with a robotic stand-in. I wanted the game to start off with the idea that Nero's had his demon arm ripped off to give the players the feeling of, oh my god, what's gonna happen to Nero? Itsuno said. And then his partner Nico swoops in and she says, alright, I'm gonna put my skills to the test, to give you back all of the ability and power that you lost with your arm. The team haven't revealed exactly who rips off Nero's arm yet though, so we'll have to wait and see who the limb-lugging culprit is. Educated guesses in the comments, please.
Cool trick! Hey, do you do parties?
But it's one thing to replace a demon arm with something robotic. The team also made the decision to make the replacement arms consumable items. I had this idea in my head, Itsuno explained. So Nero's gonna lose the Devil Breaker. The very first image I had in my head for the game was, he's got these mechanical arms and he uses them to fight enemies. They break, and then the image of Nero going, oh crap, and then shoving his arm down into the holster to get it off and pulling it out, it's flashing and stuff, and then he announces, alright, now I'm back in the battle. We call this type of thinking in Japanese, chuni. Chuni is the phrase that we use to describe the kind of stuff that's really cool to people in their early teens. So that's my vision, and I wanted players to see that. But to do that, and to get people to feel that, you actually have to make something that breaks when you use it. So we put a lot of effort into figuring that out, and we wanted to try something new with the series and balance the game so that it does centre around, at least for Nero, these kind of weapons that are expendable. And players have to think about how they're going to lose them, as well as what order they're going to use them in. The other thing, in terms of the cool stuff I had in my head, is that since Nico is the one that's going to be making these Devil Breakers, I had in my mind that Nero breaks them and Nico says, you've got to be more careful with the merchandise.
Perfect timing.
That line in particular, I really liked.
Guess the phone still works.
At several points throughout the levels of Devil May Cry 5, Nero can use these telephone booths to call Nico in, to provide some on-site repairs and customizations. The team won't go into too much detail on what that customization will look like, but Itsuno did give us some clues. He explained, what we can say is, as you play through the game, Nero's going to beat bosses, and he's going to get materials from these bosses. He's going to go, hey Nico, I found this. See if you can do something with it. She'll get all excited, like sweet, I'm going to make something really awesome. And that's the way you'll end up getting new, different kinds of Devil Breakers as you go through the game. There were two different kinds of Devil Breakers shown off during our demo, the Gerbera and the Overture. Overture, the kind of standard Devil Breaker, employs a powerful electric punch attack, while Gerbera is all about controlling the distance between Nero and his enemies, allowing you to easily queue up or continue on with flashy combos or create a bit of breathing room if you need it.
Somebody call a doctor?
The interesting thing about Devil Breakers as consumable items is, it creates a new layer of strategy, Itsuno continued. It makes players think about, okay, I have a couple of different Devil Breakers, I'm in this situation, should I just go ahead and break this Gerbera so I can use the Overture because that's going to be more effective, or will that be a bit of a waste and I should just stick with what I have? It's really cool that as we're talking about this, we have both posters for Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 in the room, RE2 being a game known for its resource management. In coming up with ideas for DMC5, we thought, what if we took the idea of resource management and applied it to Devil May Cry? That's a neat little detail when you think about how much these two Capcom franchises have, understandably, influenced each other already. The Devil Breaker may sort of be the star of the show for our demo, but Nero's Sword and Gun, the Red Queen and Blue Rose aren't being totally ignored either. The team told us about some of the changes being made. For the Blue Rose, Walker explained, we've taken away the charged shot. In its place, we've put a move in called Color Up. And what that is he opens up the cylinders and loads up special ammo. 2 different bullets, 3 times each. And there's a motion that plays for that and he closes it up. And now he's got 3 different sets of these basically double bullets. And you'll see they hit differently to standard ammo. It's a powered up Blue Rose essentially. And we all know how important gunplay is to making the most of DMC's combat. Even though we've only seen Nero's gameplay so far, DMC5 will actually feature 3 playable characters. Nero, Dante, and a third as yet unannounced character, who some are speculating to be Dante's brother Virgil, but Capcom are remaining tight-lipped over. But how will gameplay be divided up between the 3 separate characters? We've designed it in a way that there's going to be a lot of variety for players. With that in mind, we've still tried to design it so that people can play as these characters equally if they choose, but I guess we'll have more details to share on that soon, Itsuno said. Now, does that mean that players will be able to switch between characters at will, or that there'll be an extra mode where you can pick which character you want to play as? We also asked why Capcom chose 3 playable characters, when they probably could have just gone with Dante and people would have been happy. Itsuno laughed and said he was just greedy. We thought of new stuff and we wanted to try it out. Well, we're not going to argue with that. We've had a very quick glimpse of the new Dante in the latest DMC5 trailer, and he looks very different. He's older, but is he wiser? Itsuno said, hopefully Dante is just as appealing to everyone who's loved him as he's ever been. We've always made Dante like he's the shining star of this concept of Chun-Li, this kind of person that loves the stuff that's cool to people in their teens. He's supposed to be the embodiment of that. But in DMC5, it feels like the torch for youthful cockiness has been passed on to Nero. So where will that leave Dante? And how much will his personality have changed? Guess we'll have to wait and find out. In many ways we've seen so far, DMC5 kind of feels like a greatest hits of the DMC franchise. This really is the amalgamation of all the cool stuff we've done with Devil May Cry up until now, Walker says. Our dev team have put a lot of effort into including little bits of fan service in the game wherever possible. If you were paying attention to DMC5 trailers, you might have already noticed some classic enemies, like the Sin Scissors, looking very much like their original design but brought up to date with photorealistic graphics. We've got a few more surprises like that in store, the team promised. We replied that we'd love to see everyone's favourite lava spider, scorpion, thing, phantom included, to which Itsuno sneakily replied, well, hopefully we'll see that. That sounds pretty good for Phantom fans. We did wonder, before seeing the game in action, how exactly that level of photorealism would work alongside DMC's trademark over-the-top stylization. Producer Matt Walker says he thought the same thing, but Itsuno says he was never worried about it. If the game gets to be photorealistic, then it'll be more of the look and feel of a Hollywood superhero film, Avengers or Pacific Rim or something like that. That is definitely a pretty good goal to aim for, but what does it mean for things like combos, where before with less polished graphics you could get away with transitions and things not looking quite right. Now you have to have it look like something a real-life human could do. Hopefully we've created it in a way that feels natural, Itsuno said. Our lead animator is a guy called Hideaki. He's worked on DMC since the first one. He's been around the whole time, so for him and the animation team, their goal was to create something that looked right, but would still retain the stylishness of Devil May Cry. And with all that action, it can sometimes be a struggle for the in-game camera to keep up in a game like this that's constantly on the move. How were the team making sure that their camera could keep things looking smooth? In terms of the camera, there were two things we had in mind. The first thing was that when you have screenshots or video of DMC3, DMC4, DMC Devil May Cry, and Devil May Cry 5 all together in front of you, you could point to one right away and say, DMC5 is that one. You just know. But then also, this time around, our goal for the camera was to have something that enhances that stylishness, that plays up to that as much as possible. So it's as close to the character as it can be, and you can appreciate the stylishness that you, the player, is pulling off, but not to the extent that the gameplay feels worse for doing that.
I shall show you the wrath of the mighty.
The team are in an interesting position now where it's been 10 years since DMC4. The fans who want a continuation of that story and that style of gameplay are a bit older. But then there are a lot of younger players who maybe they've only ever played the Ninja Theory DMC, or maybe they've never played a Devil May Cry game before and think that jumping in at number 5 won't make much sense to them. What are the team doing to draw new players in? We tried to design the game so that there was a low barrier for entry but a really high ceiling for what you can accomplish, Itsuno said. So for people that maybe aren't used to or are maybe intimidated by playing a Devil May Cry game, an involved action game, we've made an auto assist, what we call the Easy Auto, something that you can turn on and off whenever you want. You just hold down the right stick for a few seconds and it'll show you up on top. We designed that not really as an easy mode, that's not the intent. The intent is to allow people to figure out for themselves how to play stylishly with Auto Assist, being in a situation and thinking, I don't know what I should do. They can turn on Auto Assist to get an idea of the moves they could be using, and then hopefully people will learn what moves are helpful and they can try to do it themselves later without Easy Auto on. Also, we've put a lot of thought into creating a story people can enjoy whether they're an old school fan or not, and it'll hopefully keep you riveted throughout. So there you go, Devil May Cry has always been a series about just having fun and looking as cool as you possibly can, and DMC5 definitely looks like it'll be continuing that trend. What do you think about the changes being made? Let us know in the comments. And before we go to the end cards, here's a thank you to our sponsor Huawei for helping us bring you videos like this one every single day. The Honor Play handset has been made with gamers in mind, so if you feel like taking a closer look at its specs, check it out via the link provided in the description below. If not, no worries at all. Here are some other videos you might want to watch instead. If you haven't already, you could always subscribe to Eurogamer for more daily videos like this one, so until next time, thanks for watching. Bye!